Hello BookTube, I'm Jonathan and welcome to Words in Time. What we're going to be doing is listing my top 10 favorite sci-fi book covers of all time. And here's the criteria. 1. Is it aesthetically pleasing? Now that's pretty obvious. Does it look good on the bookshelf? If someone made this the background on my phone or bought a big print to put up in my house, how happy or unhappy would I be with that? And number 2, does it make you want to read the book? Is it intriguing? Does it create a tone? Is there something about a character or a world that it shows you that makes you say, yes, I want to read that next? And number 3 is more of a non-factor than a factor. The quality of the book doesn't matter. So I could have read the book and hated it, but if I love the cover, it makes the list. Okay, today we are judging books by their covers. I don't even have to have read them. There's thousands of books out there, and some of those books have had 5, 10, 20 releases, so a lot of covers to choose from. Some of these I've read, some of these I haven't, but I'm excited to share my favorites, and I want to know yours. Let me know your favorite sci-fi covers in the comments. So let's get into it with number 10. All right, coming in at number 10 is To Your Scattered Bodies Go, which was written by Philip Jose Farmer, and the cover art for the 1998 edition was done by John Stevens. Now, this is a pretty psychedelic, trippy cover. I love the colors, the green, the blue, the orange. Those people that seem to be floating down a river. I want to know what's going on there. I haven't read this book, but it looks like they're either being born or maybe they've died. They're coming or going somewhere, and this paints a real picture, makes you want to learn more about the story. I love the colors. Very weird, very strange, but I'm into it. Then next at number 9, we have A Canticle for Leibowitz, which was written by Walter M. Miller Jr., and the cover art for the 2006 edition was done by John Piccaccio. Now, this is a very different type of cover, quite dark, very brooding. There's a monk there who seems to maybe be protecting books. I'm not sure. This is another one that I haven't read. But I love the combination of the darkness, but with the fire, the birds in the background. There's definitely religious overtones. It looks pretty epic. Looks a little bit more fantasy than sci-fi perhaps, but that's fine. We're just rating this based on how cool I think it is, not by how sci-fi it is. But that's definitely, other than this is a classic, definitely a reason that makes me want to pick this up and is on my TBR list for sure. And coming in at number 8 is Leviathan Wakes, which was written by James S.A. Corey. And the cover art, I believe this is the original edition, 2011 it was released, was done by Daniel Dociu. And I think this is a fan favorite. I love the colors in this. You have that kind of ocean blue with the icy blue, and then you have the pink lettering that just pops off the page. I think I've seen a different version of this where it's the same image but with white lettering, and it still looks pretty good, but that pink was such a bold choice. I love it. The Expanse series looks great on the shelf, really jumps off the shelf into the room. So whether you're a fan or not of the books, maybe they're worth collecting, because this is the 8th best cover of all time, according to me. Moving on to number 7, we have Lord of Light, which was written by Roger Zelazny, and the 2010 edition is my favorite. I don't know who did the cover. I spent a little while researching this. It's the only one on the list that I couldn't find, so if you can find out, please let me know. If you could put that in the comments, that would be much appreciated. But I love this cover. It's epic. For some reason, this reminded me of Uncharted, which is one of my favorite video game series. Completely different tone to the book. Once I read the book, not really an Uncharted type story, but that's okay. I love the colors, the gold, the blue, the light. It gives you a sense of the book is set as kind of like a Hindu Buddhist inspired future. It's kind of magic meets sci-fi, and you really get that from the cover. This definitely put it to the top of my list and made me want to read it. I think I like the cover more than the book, but that's a review for another day. And next, at number 6, we have Gateway, which was written by Frederick Pohl, and the 2004 edition cover art was done by John Piccaccio, the only artist to make the list twice, so props to him. I love the work. Now, this is some psychedelic cover art. I love the colors, but I don't think I looked at it closely enough initially, because when I did eventually take a closer look, I realized it was actually a man's face. I just thought it was an explosion or a portal or the ship moving through space, but the ship is actually coming out of a man's eyes. The rings kind of make up his face, and it reminded me of The Funhouse by the Stooges, if you've seen that album cover. I just thought it was flames, but then I turned it sideways and realized it was a face. So maybe I'm just blind, but I love that concept. I love the colors, and yeah, super, super cool. Would love to have that up on the wall. And cracking into the top 5 is Empire of Silence, which was written by Christopher Rocchio, and the artwork was done by Sam Weber. Now, I love the commitment to the color purple here. This is definitely going to pop off the shelf in any bookshop, any bookstore. And we have a character who is draped in gladiator-style clothing. But then if you look at the face shield, it looks very futuristic. It looks kind of like an astronaut as well. So a great combination there of the fantasy and sci-fi that you get in the book. And I also love the hand that is reaching up to grab the sword. Are they trying to pull him down, or are they asking for help? And does that make the main character in the image the good guy or the bad guy? So there's a lot going on here that's quite subtle, as well as the punch you in the face purple. Absolutely love it. Epic cover for an epic book. Coming in at number 4, we have Sea of Rust, which was written by C. Robert Cargill, and the artwork which was done by Dominic Harmon. Now, I love the colors in this book, and I love the texture of it. It almost feels like I can reach out and touch it, and this book will feel rusty. You have the green, the red, the orange, the yellow, and I love that robotic arm, which is just kind of reaching up, the way it's framed within the sun. It's very picturesque. Gives you a real sense of perhaps a post-apocalyptic or dystopian future. I haven't read it, but this cover really makes me want to read it. Just like the book suggests, a sea of rust of robots. You would find a robot out in a desolated land. I feel like I would find this old rusty book there, and you'd want to read it. You found a real treasure. So hopefully the book lives up to this awesome, awesome cover. And making it into the top 3 is Spin, which was written by Robert Charles Wilson, and the artwork was supposedly done by Drive Communications. If you can find the cover artist, please let me know. I'd love to find an individual that did this as opposed to some kind of marketing team. But anyway, whoever did it, awesome, awesome job. I love the imagery, the symbol of that swirling spiral, that black hole, that whirlpool. It's always been one of my favorite images, and the combination of the black, the green, and the purple, there's amazing color choices. It reminds me a little bit of the Charlotte Hornets, that kind of teal green mixed with the purple. Favorite logo by far, especially the original 90s one. We're getting a little sidetracked, but I love this cover. It makes you feel like something epic is going on in the universe with the stars. Why is it spinning? It made me want to find out more, and I have read this one. A spin review will be in the future. Does the book match the cover? You'll have to wait and see. But as you can tell, number 3, I love the cover of Spin. And with our penultimate cover, coming in at number 2 is Dune, which was of course written by Frank Herbert, and I chose the 2019 deluxe edition, the artwork which was done by Matt Griffin. Now, Dune is sacred ground within the sci-fi community. The film's coming out soon, which I'm super hyped for. I will talk about Dune more at some point. I really, really like it. For me, it's not quite the pantheon great that some people think it is, listing it as the number 1 sci-fi book of all time. But this cover, number 2 of all time. I love how you have the central character who kind of draws you in. He's rather mysterious, but with that epic kind of orange and aquamarine background, you get a sense of scale as well. And I love that within sci-fi, when you have a personal story, but concepts that affect a whole universe. So the artist here has conveyed that in the design with some magnificent covers as well. This is going to look awesome on any shelf. I believe this is hardcover only. I've mentioned on the channel, I love my paperbacks. My teeny tiny mass market paperbacks are my favorite. But for this cover, I'd be willing to go to the dark side of the hardcovers. And coming in at number 1, my personal favorite sci-fi book cover of all time is Hyperion, written by Dan Simmons, and the cover art, which was done by Gary Riddell. I love this image. The colors, the pinks, the purples, the yellows, the blues, the greens, all come together to paint such a beautiful image, which makes me wish space travel was available now, so I could travel to a world like this and experience something as beautiful as the cover of Hyperion. But there is that scary, sharp, pointy, mysterious, ominous Shrike looking down at that boat, and I love the contrast there, the combination of the beauty with the unknown. And this cover does such a good job of being a standalone image, as well as conveying the story, the world that is in Hyperion, which showcases the lightness and the darkness coming together. And I think that just makes it an epic book cover for an epic series. I have reviewed all 4 of the Hyperion Cantos books, so check those out to see how much I liked each of those. And yes, this cover does it more than justice. It's my number 1 of all time. I love it. So there you go, guys. That's my top 10. Let me know what you think. I think I have a certain sense of style that you'll be able to maybe get a sense of. It comes together. Let me know whether you agree or disagree with any of my picks, and what are your favorite covers of all time. If I've read them or I haven't read them, maybe looking at those covers will make me want to read those as well. So, as always, guys, I really appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for more sci-fi content coming soon.